Welcome to Radio Chatter. We're Ventrax Offroad, your go-to podcast for everything off-road in the UAE.
Each week we're out in a new location, deep in the dunes, high in the mountains, or somewhere completely off the grid, talking 4x4 news, off-road tips, gear reviews, and the wildest stories.
From sketchy recoveries to epic campsites, we cover it all, sharing real adventures.
Debating the best setups and figuring out what went wrong this time.
So buckle up,
air down,
and let's get into it. This is Radio Chatter.
Hi guys, welcome back to Radio Chatter, podcast 3. Today we're here with the guys who did the RDC. Thought we'd do some Q&A and talk about the challenge.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, you've seen me before. The face of Radio Chatter.
Unfortunately.
But we got Harry and we got Jack. Got here to share your insights on how the RDC went and how my team is probably better than yours.
Debatable.
Classic competition.
Yeah.
So guys, I mean, how was it? How was the weekend? How'd you fight? It's not your first time doing it, is it? Done it before?
No, yeah, so we did it last year. Our first time was last year. And I think we kind of went into it not really knowing exactly the format, what's the best techniques, and you know. But this year, we really, you know, head down, we got all our shit together.
I feel like you guys turned up with a plan. Like the night before, my GPS played up, and I was like, hi guys, can I borrow your computer? Like they were there with like 7 GPS devices, laptop, and I mean Anton and you were just tuning it in.
I mean, it looked good, but it wasn't going as smooth as it looked. The operation looked professional, but it was mainly figuring out how to get the GPS coordinates.
Well, the issue is that our GPSs that we use, I think, are from the 1980s.
Yeah.
Like, we'd plug them into the laptop and they'd be like, nope, sorry, can't read that.
Doesn't recognise.
My GPS is too old to read on the MacBook, and so that's why I came over, because you had Windows computers, so it helped.
How did this year compare to last year? I mean, obviously, it was a different track this year, right? It was a U-shape rather than the L cutting through. So, I mean...
No, your track last year was similar to what you did this year.
It was a figure of 8, though, last year.
Okay, yeah, because the year we did we did an L shape where we come through the big kind of 200 meter high, like the flat Sabka kind of area, and then we came down, and where we finished, it's the same spot that we finished when we did it in 2023.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that, but I think they had a lot more accidents because of the bigger dunes at the start.
Yeah, so it was 2 years ago when you did it?
Yeah.
So, you went through the actual Liwa Crescent first.
Yeah.
So last year when we did it the first time, it was in Medinat Zayed, so the dune section just north of the Crescent.
Yeah.
And then this year was the same area, but sort of 50 kilometers south of it.
Yeah.
So same figure of 8 angle, but they compressed it a bit.
Yeah.
So we weren't as against the grain, if you know what, against the dune grain.
Yeah.
So
I saw. So I heard that they actually had to change their route last minute due to fences and that were put up across some of the roads. I was talking to the guy that we submit all your GPS to at the end of the day. I was having a chat with him, and he actually showed me what the route was meant to be for this year. And again, it was another figure of 8, but they had to change it last minute because some of those roads where I think a few people got caught out, where you had to go through the tunnels.
Yeah.
That's where they had to then make this new route because of the tunnels, because people had to use them. So they made it part of the obstacle. I saw probably 5 or 6 teams just coming down the main road.
Yeah, there were a few.
And caught out, which makes me feel good.
for
definitely
sure.
Compared to last year, like I think last year was a bit more challenging in terms of some of the climbs that you had to do.
Yeah.
Bigger dunes. But I definitely felt that this year the time constraint was more of a factor. Like we flew in last year, got to camp on day 1 at 4:30, something like that.
I mean,
without
a
problem. Yeah.
I saw you guys not stuck. Yeah, Anton's. What was it? What actually happened to the stuff?
Well, we were the GPS, so we couldn't move.
Yeah.
So Jack knows.
I'll tell you what happened.
I saw you fixing it. I got stuck next to you.
So we stopped for lunch, and we were like, okay, actually, we haven't gone very far. We've actually got quite a lot to do left. And we've got maybe 5 hours left. So, okay, quick lunch on the way. And then I'm leading, Harry and Yannick are following me. And then we get a call on the radio from Anton saying, I'm stuck. Okay. So I have to whiz around. He's probably like a kilometre away, so quite a fair distance in the scheme of things. And he comes he's like pitched down into this like. He's basically pitched down. His bumper's deep in the sand.
Yeah.
Tires come off, and it's not a good situation. So I'm like, okay, what are we going to do here?
And we already thought we were behind at this point.
So we were stressing. And then he has a winch. So he put his winch on to my car, and I like anchored, and we tried to pull him.
Yeah.
As we pulled him, because he had deflated, his whole tire deflated, it basically caught onto his secondary front left shock reservoir tank and ripped it off, and in doing so ripped a hole in his tire.
Oh.
So then it was okay, we can't just pump this tire up, we've got to actually change the tire. Luckily it was only a secondary shock, so he could still run. He's still got kings. So
he's still had a big king in there.
Yeah. So it's not the end of the world. But yeah, we were tight for time at that point, and you came up to us and said, "Oh, do you need a hand?" And we were like, "No, we're all good." And then you,
in true fashion of me, just sunk.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I can't ask for help. Press my cruise control, press a diff lock. Like, I'm thinking, do I climb out the window and push the car myself?
I felt bad.
Yeah.
I felt bad. I was like,
I mean, each for you.
Well, our head was in the game, right? We thought we were behind already.
Yeah.
So we were like, well, sorry, mate. That was your fault.
Man behind.
and this whole time they're obviously, GPS cars not moving. So they're just constantly on the radio. Like, what's going on? And we're just there like, we need to just.
But we weren't even in GPS range with you guys. So I was radioing up to Yannick, who was sort of 60 meters on a dune behind.
A big bowl.
And then he was speaking to them, and then it came down like that.
I had the big radio on the car, so I could hear, like, I switched to your channel, asked you if you were okay, and I could hear you all. And I was like, why are they fucking radioing? I was like, I'm not even going to get involved, switch back. I just went back to my radio, and like.
How long did it take you guys to sort it out?
I don't know. It was probably the whole thing. Get him out, realise that his tyre was shredded, and that his shock was broken, changed the tyre, like 20 minutes. It wasn't too bad.
It felt like a lifetime.
It felt like a lifetime.
Yeah.
Because I had to like run back because the jack was in Harry's car. So I had to drive back to get the jack and then drive back. Yeah.
And obviously then when you like distance is your enemy in that situation, you've got to really plan. Did you do that actually? It's a good question actually. Did you guys plan, depending who had the GPS cars, who had what gear? Or, I mean, the sounds of it, no. For Jack.
No, we did, but it was also, so Jack was our scout, right? So he had to be the lightest, right? He had to find the route. And Anton was the support at the back, and he had most of the fuel and other bits and bobs. But I just took this extra weight because it's a proper big bottle jack,
Yeah.
So it's 15 kilos, which Jack doesn't want as a scout.
No.
And I was happy with it. Yeah.
I went relatively lightweight, but like with my team, obviously I met them I spoke to them on the Thursday night, met them on the Friday morning. And luckily I kind of turned up with the tools and bits that I did, but we didn't have to do anything. I mean,
That's good.
He pulled the back bumper off his car, trying to get up literally like a 5 or 6 meter slip face. And we were like, if you can get up that, you're gonna save us a good like half a kilometer. He was like, okay. I was like, look, we got a winch. I was like, just get at least halfway, or we'll winch you up the rest, sort of thing. And he sent it up into it, and then literally this back bumper was still at the bottom of the tube. Hey off-roaders, so we're about 25-ish kilometers in, trying to navigate up a bit of a steep dune here. Got one of our teammates, he's managed to just get his rims, his wheels just on the top of this big dune here. It's going to shave off a good distance for us. So I've managed to go around as scout, picked up another route, got him hooked up with the off-road rope, and hopefully we're going to pop him up and get him back on top here and save a few more kilometers for this RDC. Stay tuned, we'll keep you posted as to whether we get him up or not. So the only tools that really got used on my car where my ratchet straps is ratcheting is bumper back onto my roof rack.
Do you guys do much in terms of prep for the gear you're taking? Obviously the jacks and GPSs and ropes and all this stuff. I mean, did you guys put a lot of time into it? Or was it items that you guys just already had from off-roading generally? I mean, did you have to invest in more gear to make the trip happen?
Well, I can start with our team.
Yeah.
We knew when we finished last year that we were going to do the same event again with the same team and do very similar to what we did, but just tighter.
Fine-tune
it. So we met up maybe a month in advance to do the initial discussion about who's going to take what. and then we met up again closer to the time, and we have an Excel sheet with each car who's going to have what, you know. So it's sort of, somebody will say, right, we need 4 soft shackles, and then we'd all say, well, I've got 2. And Jack's got 2, and then, okay, Jack, you give me your 2, I'll take all 4 shackles, for example.
Which is kind of how we did it in 2023, remember?
Yeah.
We had that spreadsheet with, when we entered with Sunken Deep in 2023, you know, the guys put a spreadsheet together, and we purposely went, like, one car had the cold box that just had meat in it. Yeah. One car had the cold box that just had drinks in it. One, you know, and we separated the weight out, and, like, we really kept it kind of thing. But, I mean, back then, my Jeep was completely stock. Like, FJ.
Yeah.
That is getting confused with FJ.
Jeep.
It was completely stock. And actually, it's seen its days. I think on the RDC, my suspension took a bit of a beating this weekend just gone.
Can't get any lower than it is.
Coming up some of those peaks, just front end lifting, and I'm like, here we go. Oh! Butting the steering wheel as I come back
Helps
down.
that you got the custom built bumper though, right?
Yeah, it helps.
For the impact, absolutely.
Yes, yeah. That front bumper has taken an absolute beating, and I mean, we know that obviously Valo's now closed down, but 2.0 is on the horizon.
Nice.
You know,
I was going to ask where you got it done.
Yeah, so 2.0 is on the horizon. So Valo Design built that. They also did my roof rack as well. And that bumper took an absolute beating this weekend. And a few times I got out to like have a look to see if it was like properly damaged.
Yeah. No problems.
No, my number plate is like melted around.
Yeah.
But like,
somehow it's bending out.
Yeah.
I know, I pulled it out the other day because I couldn't get in my car park because it was so bent. But yeah, there's 2.0s on the horizon. They're calling it Stars Overland, and they're focusing on being an overland company that builds your draw systems, your bumpers, your roof racks, and it's more your overlanding sort of setup. You want red arc setups and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what he's aiming to do. It's still a loose conversation. I think they're looking for garages, and I think they're looking for places to set up. So,
nice.
yeah. But I mean, I guess kind of sponsored me, but talking of sponsorship, you guys actually got sponsorship, right?
Yeah, we did. So, we all send our cars to Talk Middle East. You know, they've been looking after all of our Des Club 7 group cars for years and years and years. So we thought, you know, look, why don't we advertise you guys a bit more, you know, get your name out there. So they gave us a nice little deal. We've got all our stickers on, and we're talking about them to other competitors.
I mean, just from you guys talking about it, like as we just said, my suspension needs doing.
Yeah.
I've been talking to Tiana quite a lot, and obviously you about suspension. He was like, just go and talk to the guys at Talk.
Yeah. The thing is,
and just have a chat with them.
The thing is, they're like, so originally they were, I think, Xterra specialists, and then fabrication, and they've been branching out now, and they will just not rip you off. You know, we're easy to be ripped off. You know, off-roaders are easy to get ripped off, and they're just very genuine. And they're not going to mess you around, and they'll send you the prices of things before they do the work, which is super important.
It's amazing.
Rather than changing your differential and replacing your clutch and giving you a 15k bill at the end. You know,
and that's always been my worry with things. Like I get a bit protective. Like as I said to you this morning, I'm good with kind of fixing a car if it breaks, but upgrading it, I've got a clue. I don't know. I literally don't know the difference between like what different suspensions, a bypass suspension, a stage 1, a stage 2, a stage 10. Like,
but it gets to a point though, especially with our cars, you don't want to be leaving this to just yourself to do. Yeah. Because you know you'll screw it up somehow, and if you do, you've bricked your car. Yeah. You know, if you're going to brick it, you'd much rather do it having fun in the desert, not sat in your car parking space at your apartment trying to install something stupid.
You say that, but so I'm like that.
Okay.
But Jack, he's an engineer by trade.
I'm the opposite of that.
Yeah.
I trust myself over any garage. But when it comes to like fabrication and stuff like that, obviously that's different. Yeah.
But I mean, what have you done to the TJ?
So I built the engine in that car a couple of years back. It's a stroker engine now, so 4.7 litre. But yeah, so I enjoy, you know, my peaceful place is under the car, 100%. Like, if I need a moment, just get under the car, just take 10 minutes, figure it out.
We'll link his Instagram in the description below. It's at Jack's Jeeps, right?
Yeah.
And you've got a few kind of videos.
Yeah, got some.
Of your Jeep and that as well. We'll link that link your Instagram in there as well. Maybe we'll overlay a few shots here.
Yeah, nice.
It's got a nice noise. I love the noise to it. So.
Yeah, it's going to cause me some problems on the road though very soon. So I need to get one of those bypass valves that like you've got. Yeah. I've got to choose my roads wisely at the moment.
Yeah, they are a bit more accepting of Jeeps though. I noticed, they pass them definitely more than any other modified car. So there seems to be a bit of a
because of the way they're built. You can do a lot to it, which is stock stuff like taking the roof and doors off.
Yeah.
It looks awesome and stupid, but that's like stock stuff anyone can do.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably why you get more leeway, because they just look at it and go, "Oh, just it's a Jeep."
I give you credit for doing the RDC in a TJ though. I mean, I had a TJ for 2 years, and that thing gave me more headaches than anything.
Yeah.
I told you guys the other day, right? I bought it for like 27,000. I think I spent 20,000. Then the head gasket blew, and this blew, and that. The gearbox broke, and in the end, I think I sold it for about 15,000.
Just to get rid of it.
I just wanted it gone. I just bought the FJ, and I was happy with the FJ. I love the Jeep. It's great. I love having the doors off. But you know what? I love putting my windows up. Not being covered in satin.
That's fair.
And not having the headache of lying under. I think it was a Christmas Eve, and I was led under. I had the valve body of the TJ in my hands. I was covered in gearbox oil. I really wanted to go out to the desert on Christmas Day, and I was like, the only way it's going to happen is if I fix it and get it sorted. I remember putting my valve body back in, and like being like as skilled as you are, you know that they're not that. Like they're like the computer of the gearbox, right?
Right.
Put it back in, did it all up, put the oil back in, put it into drive, and I went backwards.
Oh no!
And I kind of in my head went, fine, if I put it in reverse, I can still go to the bottom.
Did that work?
No.
No.
No. So I went and borrowed my sister's Jeep, and I took that out, and I think I broke that somehow. So. I give you credit for doing the RDC in a Jeep, because I did it with Jovan in 2023.
Yeah.
It was on day one, I think.
Day
wasn't
one.
It? Yeah, he ripped off a control arm. Or something.
No, it was his steering stabilizer. He had a dual steering stabilizer, and he nicked the bottom of his radiator.
Yeah.
And that was it.
So it snapped the bar, and then as he went over that dune that snapped the bar, it then pierced into the radiator.
Yeah.
Such an unfortunate.
And at that point, there's nothing you can do about that unless JB weld overnight.
Yeah, but somehow, and I'll give it credit to my team at that time. Vaughan was leading us, and I think I want to bring him back up in a minute. I think he's quite a contender for this year's RDC. He was with the Abu Dhabi team, but Vaughan was leading us, and we spent an hour getting Jovan back to the main road, then back to the GPS car, and we still finished first.
Nice.
You're
flying.
Like Vaughan is an absolute beast. He had a silver JL at the time. He's changed his JL now to he's in a new Prado, but he was in a Jeep JL at the time, and honestly, like, he would go up like 100-meter plus high dunes and just park halfway up it, get out his car and just go for a little wander and be like, yeah, this looks doable. And he'd come back down and he'd just send it up just literally up those slip faces.
Yeah.
Like
Nice.
The guys had no fear.
He just
not
had
only
no
no fear, but also just absolute skill.
I think he's been driving in Liwa like for something like 20 plus years, and I think his team, the Abu Dhabi, I've forgotten their name.
Were they in last year?
No, I think he competed with a different team last year. You might have it on your thing there, but it was they were the Abu Dhabi team, Abu Dhabi Misfits or something, I think they were called, and he led their team this year. And if he had good GPS cars with him, I think he could be a quiet contender that could have done really well, because he really knows his stuff. And I mean, he got second place for us in 2023.
Yeah,
so,
awesome.
Yeah, he did.
We had second and fourth in 2023.
It's definitely, that balance between being very sort of gung-ho, but also knowing what the hell you're doing.
Yeah.
Just getting that absolute perfect momentum to just topple over. Because the crests in Medina Zayed where we were, it was windy the whole week before.
Yeah.
So every crest was, just as steep on either side.
Perfect peak.
Yeah, it was a perfect peak. So, if you go too fast over that, you're going head over heels or heels over head.
When I first started off-roading was how I used to go over dunes. I used to see the top and go, foot to the floor. And there's videos, I think, where I'm like front wheels off the ground.
Yeah,
back wheels off the ground.
Slamming down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did a few of them this weekend. Don't think that helped the suspension.
No.
But then the problem is, if I didn't do it, I then just
Yeah,
stuck on
get
the
stuck.
top.
It's just getting that fine balance, isn't it? Yeah. And every car has a different balance.
By the second day, I think it had really I'd gotten back into it. But like the thing is, I hadn't been off-roading since I went out with you on that Sunday morning when we went out to Sweden.
Yeah.
I hadn't been actually out in the desert for a long time.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we go out most weekends, but we end up in the mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Or we're coming out to Qudra to film
Yeah.
videos for Instagram and
Yeah.
we're actually going off-roading.
Yeah.
We take 5-10 minutes to get to the desert to do a quick video about something and then
I hadn't actually been off-roading for probably over a month and a half. Like, I've been on holiday, and like you lose it a bit. I thought.
Yeah.
Like it comes like riding a bike, but like you do lose it a little.
It's like when summer, just as summer's finishing, and you do like a little warm-up drive
Yeah.
before the season starts to iron out the
Get rid of
kinks.
the rust.
Yeah, smash all the
shake it up.
bushings and get them replaced.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, obviously the challenge was 3 days in total. Spent it with some guys with cars together. What were some of the best and what were some of the worst moments that you guys had whilst doing the RDC this year?
I mean, I have a best, but I can save that till the end if someone else has got a worst, maybe.
I think probably the best moment was, for me anyways, finishing day one. Just knowing that, okay, once you get that first day under your belt,
Yeah.
and that everyone like has such massive energy after that. And we have a girls team as well, Toe, and we got to see them come across the line on day one, which was awesome. They put a team together. We convinced them after last year to be like, you girls can do this, and they at the time they were like, no.
Yeah, they were skeptical.
Literally no. And we pestered them throughout the year, and then eventually they were like, you know what, let's take on.
It's quite nice as well though, because the off-road community here is very predominantly male focused.
Yeah.
And all the time you bring in girlfriends and wives to the event, and the interest is there, but you kind of want them to be involved as well. So I guess it's quite nice you had a full team of women to join the event as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was the only all-girls team, passengers and
Ever, right?
drivers.
We didn't have an all-girls team ever on any of their events.
And they smashed it. So definitely end of day one for me was a highlight. Crossing the line, hugs and high fives all round, and then seeing the girls come in 10 minutes later was awesome.
Team Toe coming in. Yes, go! Woo-hoo-hoo! Come on, girls! Let's go! Come on! Woo-hoo-hoo! Perfect timing. Let's go! Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff.
I think that sort of like goes on to my favourite part of the RDC is just like the camaraderie and like the group culture, which is so nice. At the start, there's like everyone is friends, but there's also that hint of competitiveness between, the guys that you think are going to do well.
Yeah.
So like Jack said, when we came in the evening, we were only 15 minutes before the girls team Toe, and they came in and we were going nuts, we were so happy for them. And then after that, we all went to the same campsite, set up our tents. We all had to sleep in tents because we weren't allowed roof tents, which is fair, right? Which is fair.
Considering the history of the
Yeah.
RDC, we've had, I think every year they had a rollover until this year.
So that was a nice change that they made, to keep it nice and safe. But yeah, in the evening, sat around the barbecue. This year we had Lekker Meat Shop. We approached them and asked if they wanted to, just give us a small sponsorship whereby we'll advertise them a lot.
Yeah.
Talk to the organisers about them, and in return they gave us meat and biltong. So
For the whole weekend.
For the whole weekend.
Yeah.
It's just what you need.
It was perfect, and it was so good. So
I would pull up and see you guys every now and then. I'd pull up next to you, it'd be like when you were fixing it, right? When you were fixing the suspension and the tyre and whatnot, and Tian just comes running over. You want some Bullabos? Or Joy Wars, and it gives it to Ruben first, the other fellow South African.
Yeah.
And, Ruben's like, "Do you want a bit?" I'm like, please.
No, but half of our team were South Africans, the other half were Brits, you know,
Yeah.
and Lekker was like the slogan of the trip. Everything that we did.
Yeah.
It was,
I mean, to be fair, when we go to the mountains, when we're doing camping trips, Lekker meat shop.
yeah.
Always get.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
went to we did Liwa a couple of weeks back, didn't we?
Yeah.
And Ruben and I went down to Lekker and bought
Spent a couple $100 dirhams there easily.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think we spent
It's worth it though.
750 dirhams on meat.
Nice.
I mean, Ruben bought a lot to take home for himself as well. But
Yeah.
I mean, they do. What's cool as well is they actually do a lot of the South African traditional food. So something that I really like is it's like liver wrapped in fat. I don't know if
Okay.
you've seen it.
Okay.
They do.
Nice.
The name of it is like skull pikey or something like that. Any South African that's watching right now is going to be like, like screw it.
Ruben's there like, "Ah,
Crazy.
come on, you can at least got that right.
Ruben's out there in Abu Dhabi at the moment, his ears are twitching.
But honestly, like it's like liver wrapped in fat, and they
Sounds good.
I think the actual Afrikaans word is like baby turtle, something like that. 'Cause it looks like a small like
Like a terrapin or something.
yeah. But yeah, I love it. I like it. It's
Yeah.
really good meat there. And we had a massive storm of a cook up. Like that
Yeah.
cold box was
Yeah.
just meat.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing when we did Liwa, and we did 2-3 days there, and just every night just cooking steaks and lamb and the skull pikey and
Yeah.
it's so good.
So yeah, big shout out to Lekker Meat Shop. Where are they
Yeah,
located?
awesome.
Yeah.
They're in Al-Quoz. Well, they're actually all over the place.
Okay.
But their main spot is in Al-Quoz on Sheikh Zayed Road,
Yeah.
and then they've got their Hyperama supermarket, which sells South African
next door,
goods
yeah.
right next door, and then they've also got a diner, which does.
Okay, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I
and they're
didn't know
all right next to each other.
Yeah,
It's
that's awesome.
it's perfect.
Yeah, well, we'll link it in the description.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
And we'll
go
link
check 'em
their Instagram, their location, and whatever else needs to be. So yeah, definitely, because I mean, you ate like kings. I think
We did, yeah.
Ruben and I didn't prepare as well. We got told on the Thursday, so Friday morning I popped a calf. Well, we popped a grandiose together, and we're like, steak, yeah, that'll do. Chicken, do that'll do. Like two children walking around a store with a trolley, like, yep. And we fit as much in the cold box as we could, and then we were like, okay, the rest can just be dumped at the house.
Yeah, I don't think I ate any carbs that weekend. It was just meat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It was fantastic.
It was fantastic.
It's such a good event. It's so much fun.
What do you
I
guys
look
think
forward
of
to-
what's coming next? I mean, the RDC, I'm not sure how many years it's been going now, but
It's the 5th edition.
5th edition. So they've obviously learned from previous events and what they're changing and everything. I mean, how much do you think is going to change going forward? What do you think what's going to be new?
I mean, it's hard to say. It was interesting what they brought out this year with giving you must-hit points like on the go,
Yeah.
which was the first time they've done that.
Did they have obstacles when you did it in the 4th edition?
Yeah.
What, like no-go zones?
Yeah.
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 No, so they had no-go
Yeah.
zones, but they also, this year it was like an obstacle, right? So like it was a big square. So the year that I did it, they had small squares of farms and local places that they were like no-go. But the whole corridor was open to do whatever we wanted to do.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Whereas this year, I found that they'd put like squares of like, here's a narrow corridor.
Yes.
If you wanna attempt going down there, you can, but you run the risk of crossing the line, sort of thing.
So in terms of that obstacle, yes, they forced you to zigzag and go against the grain and with the grain and take on an opening that's only sort of 50 meters wide if you were willing to do it.
I mean, I think you guys actually.
Oh yeah, we took it all.
So I think
You have to.
I think a lot of teams did on the second day. There was that narrow one just about halfway through, but you guys did an even tighter one than that, didn't you? On like a farm no-go, wasn't it, or something?
We took what we think to be the absolute tightest lines we could. So we're quite confident.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
Hopefully.
I shouldn't speak too soon.
Don't speak too soon.
In a couple of weeks, we'll probably try and share all the routes once all the results are out. We don't want to drop anything to give away anything, but we'll drop a couple of the people's routes in. We'll get your route off you. And we'll put them in.
But Toby, to go back to your question about what they might do in the future, I don't know what they might do, but I think one of the other captains mentioned something that could be quite fun, which was, when people come in, have like a tire changing competition or a get yourself out of a stuck situation where people can watch other teams and how they
Yeah.
interact with each other.
Yeah,
So you
nice.
deliberately beat your car, and then 2 teams like against each other, stopwatch on the go,
Yeah.
get yourself out, change a tire, something like that. I think that
That'd be
would be really cool.
Because
Real difference.
they tried to play a few games with the egg and spoon race.
Yeah.
And I got an absolute cracking video of Anton,
Yeah.
which is on the Instagram at the minute. Let's go and have a look. But absolutely cracking video. Which that time of that morning, that's what you could do. It's
But that's what they're trying to get everyone together on a social side and have a laugh together,
Yeah.
and take away the seriousness, so that you know it is a competition, but it's like these guys, the desert dudes. I don't know their full background, but I think they're just a group of mates who thought, how great would it be to set up a challenge?
Yeah.
You know, and get everyone together and have a good time.
Yeah.
So that egg and spoon, well, it was an egg and shovel race,
Egg and
right?
shovel race, yeah. I thought it was my shovel. So I lost my shovel like out the back of my bag. So a shovel, the small little like Fiskars one, just come out the back of my wheel bag, but also an entire bag of coal. out my
Lost.
I was front car, like I was lead car. I had GPS right behind me,
Just gone.
somewhere in Liwa.
The GPS car just went around it or over it.
There's a free shovel.
Right, there's a bounty on it.
There's a bounty on the shovel. If you find it, you can have it. But yeah, I somehow I lost it. Like Ribbon was so disappointed on night 1, Saturday night. After the long drive, we were starving. We had 2 steaks and we had 2 pork burgers, and we were like, yes, like we're gonna eat. And he went to the wheel bag, no coal. So
It flew out the wheel bag.
flew out the wheel bag. So he spent the best part of about an extra 45 minutes burning some wood in the fire pit to like burn it down a bit so we could cook on the wood instead. Luckily, we had plenty of wood with us, and I mean, I didn't prepare my car very well for the RDC, so my bags of wood have left a few little dents in the roof of my car where they slipped through the racks. But yeah, that was you learn.
Yeah.
But I slept in the car this year with Ruben,
Yeah.
which was fun. But you know what? How windy it was, how foggy it was. Nothing was not like.
Warm.
How
Perfect,
wet
yeah.
did your
Did it
how
say
wet
pretty
was your
warm
tent?
inside the car?
It was warm.
Yeah.
I mean, we were in the sleeping bag that you've been borrowing of mine.
Yeah.
I got my dad's ex-military, so there's 2. He had 2 military sleeping bags that are just like
They're
fold up
amazing.
down.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Like incredible bags. They are probably older than me. They're incredible.
It's like this chair.
Good to like -10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just stuck an airbed in the back of the car because the back end's all flatbedded, and just stuck it in there, and it was absolutely fine. I mean, I had a fire extinguisher on my face all night. So.
Never know, right?
it was a nice way to do it. But yeah, I mean, I didn't have any dramas with the whole event. I think the way that they could maybe do some upgrades in the future is to try and extend it over like actual full 2 days, because it's a half a day, like to a slightly longer trip, so it makes that fuel planning and the actual plan a bit more.
Because I guess for the guys in the FJ, you don't have to worry about fuel.
No.
Whereas obviously the Jeep guys and other guys, they have to worry. The Pajero guys all have to consider fuel. But the FJs, you guys just fill tank, off you go. Don't even think about it.
I drove home.
Yeah.
From the
Same.
event.
Yeah.
But like I found, like there was that one team that I think, who did I see in the petrol station? I think it might have been Anton. There was one team that turned up, and the one car, he was a fuel car. There was nothing in his car but fuel.
It was the guy who had the LS swap in the Nissan Patrol, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He just carried about 20 cans of fuel.
Yeah.
That's all he did. And I think
That's a crap job.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really interesting to see an RDC that's actually split over like a 200 kilometer distance, that's over a 2-day period, that forces people to actually like really plan fuel economy and like fuel usage.
Yeah.
and how
I think it's a fine margin though, fine line,
Yeah.
because, you know, they do want to make the event challenging and difficult but exciting, but they, like Harry was saying earlier, they also want to make sure, you know, there's team spirit and energy, and
True.
it's friendly for everyone.
True.
And when
That
you
makes it
consider
quite
the
impressive.
long kind of, if you want to go to 200 kilometers, then, you know, people still have to get back to Dubai the next day on the Sunday, right? So I can't imagine they want people driving back at, setting off at 9 p.m. to
Knackered,
drive back to
yeah.
Dubai and then to work on the Monday morning. So
Very true.
I guess as it develops and gets bigger, it becomes worthy of taking those extra work days off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the people that are serious about it, you know, they'll take 2 days off. Like I took a day off. Our whole team took off for Friday to prepare and just make sure we were ready.
See if it was worth it.
I would, I would
Will be.
absolutely take, like days. I take the Friday and the Monday off. Like,
Yeah.
to head up.
Yeah, because you know it happen. You know it's happening.
Yeah.
You almost, you know it's happening a year in advance, and they announce the date like 4 months ahead. Or something.
That's the one thing I'd like them to do. It's a small thing. Announce it sooner. I know it's difficult for them to get a date down and like organising things, but announcing it sooner gives more time for that kind of plan. I know it's 4 months, but if they could give it like 8 months in advance, like I know it's a silly thing, but like so many people have dropouts, and like it means that you can really get your team kind of narrowed down. Like next year, Toby and I, and hopefully Ruben and who else, we're gonna enter a Ventrax off-road team, so we'll compete with you next year.
Good luck.
So hopefully, you know, by that point, like I'd like to be getting those numbers in now and like talking to people.
Yeah.
Do you want to do it? The first question that gets asked immediately is, when is it?
Yeah.
And like my dad wants to fly out and come and be a passenger in the car and stuff like that, and he's like, when is it? I'm like, I don't know. I'll have to tell you 4 months in advance. And you just have to like, it's just those things. It's a small thing, but it'd be nice to get that kind of advancement of when.
And based on this, obviously quite a popular event. Have you guys been involved in any other events recently across the UAE for desert and off-roaders, or anything coming up that you're looking forward to?
You did the UAE tour, just the weekend before.
Yeah, so Des Club 7, that's our like friendship off-roading group that's just built on
Sidetrack, where did it come from? The name.
Des Club 7.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a shout out to Club 7, the Filipino bar in where is it?
Bergerman.
In Bergerman.
Yeah.
So we became obsessed with Club 7. It's called Club 7, right? And incredible entertainment, great beer and food, and you know, we always had a great time there. And then at the same time, we were always out camping. So we were like, what should we call our WhatsApp group? Des Club 7, perfect. So there's almost 30 of us that have been in this group, and
Really?
and we all like the outdoors, and you know, that's where all our plans stem
Just
from.
organise our events on there, basically. Anyone keen to go out this weekend to go camp, or even if you're just coming out for a barbecue or something like that.
You guys do proper like events. Like I've got a group chat with like we've got the Ventrax boys, and we just like text each other like, "You want to go to the desert? Yeah, cool." And we go to the desert.
Yeah.
But like you guys did the Christmas carols and the tree burning.
Yeah, we arrange all of that.
You
Yeah.
do some really cool stuff.
So going back to the questions, where that was going was, because we've had this group for so long, we've never had the need to join like off-road clubs.
Yeah.
So we've then never been exposed to off-road club competitions, which is where most of the off-roaders are, right? They're in different clubs. But this year, someone I know in a WhatsApp group for Town Square, he was like, who wants to join the UAE Off-Roaders Treasure Hunt? It's not just the UAE Off-Roaders group, anyone can join. And I was like, you know what? I think it's about time, you know, we give it a go. So me, Jack, Anton and Yannick, we competed in the UAE Off-Roaders Treasure Hunt.
Do you know how like is it like I don't really know what it was all about.
You can,
Was it
the format, yeah.
Yes,
find
basically
treasure?
it's like 40 kilometre by 40 kilometre area
Yeah.
in Tilal Swayhan, and they had flags, physical flags that they put in the sand, different colours for different amount of points depending. So if you got to the flag, you had to read the code, write down the code of that flag, and there was a stamp at each flag, stamp the sheet that proves that you've been to that flag, basically. And then you have to plan your route. So we wanted to hit the flags with the most, that gave the most points, basically.
Yeah.
And you start at around 8 and finish it tight at 3:30. And we planned our route and just went round and then picked up as many flags as we could, and stamped them all, and then literally made it to the finish line at 3:29. The cars behind us, for every minute that you're late, there's like a points deduction.
Okay.
But we literally nailed it. It was tight.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. That sounds like a really cool event.
It was, and the first time we've ever entered a treasure hunt, we came fourth out of sort of 20, and it was 20 or 25 teams.
25 teams, yeah, we came fourth, yeah.
We
Just
were
missed podium.
unfortunate. Well, I was unfortunate enough to burst a hole in my tyre because I hit a rock, and that knocked us back 30 minutes.
Okay, so you might.
There was one flag in it.
It was one flag.
We were planning on hitting one flag, and that would have taken us to first place.
Oh, they should have left you behind.
Yeah. But
Why did you leave him?
But the Emiratis, they had the whole podium and they deserved it. You know, unreal drivers, great cars. Like their spirit, their off-road spirit is just something we'll never be able to fully match or understand. You know, they deserve it.
But it's good to know that, like, you know, our Des Club 7 group, you know, we're not a professional outfit. We don't take like people on trips and stuff. Like it's just a group of friends, and it's good to know that like a group of friends with the same energy, you know, can do better than all the other martial groups. Like, like who's to say if we can do it? Like anyone can. And I think there's something quite intimidating about joining one of these big off-road groups and going on their day trips and stuff where, you know, you got people with the Marshall shirts on and stuff. It makes it a bit we have a much more unofficial like feel to our group.
We spoke about this before, didn't we, in our first podcast video? We said about the groups are great, especially, you know, if you live here and you don't have a big group around you, or maybe none of your friends have off-roaders, but sometimes you just want that like relaxed outfit where it's just a group of friends just hanging out and making a bit of fun for themselves, and that's it.
Which is what we're trying to do a little bit with the like Ventrax off-road.
We want to grow to, right?
We're trying to kind of create that community that it's not like, oh, you got a Jeep, no sorry, we're a Toyota group.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you drive a Nissan Patrol, sorry, we're not a Patrol group.
You don't wear desert boots.
Yeah.
What are these guys?
Oh, no.
Another professional.
You can tell the OGs, I think.
Yeah.
I was always in without but my feet have taken too much of a beating from this sand over the years, and I'm fed up with fighting it. Something we haven't touched on though. Tell us what you drive. Tell us what you've got. What have you lifted? What have you got? What have you done to your car? What do you do?
Fair. So I used to be a Jeep driver. I still am. I've still got the Jeep, but an opportunity came around. It was a manual FJ with low kilometers, never really taken off road. And Anton said to me, he was like, "You might not ever see this opportunity ever again."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to go for it." So I bought the FJ. It was in perfect condition. Nothing had been changed.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know, I'm going to invest in it. You know, get it as high spec as I can within my budget, which I increased a lot. But yeah, I've got Rogue 3.0s in there. I've got a 2-inch lift. I've tuned it with Dubike. I've put it to its limit, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm also trying to keep it light. So while that bumper is awesome, I'm trying. It's a little bit heavier than the stock bumpers, right? Absolutely. And I'm just trying to stay away from that entirely.
Yeah.
So I think it's because you got the lift though. You got the lift on your FJ, right? So the bumper kind of negates that, whereas you've got the lift, so you kind of...
The thing I like about this bumper is actually a lot of that, the front of it is a shell. That front shell is super lightweight.
Yeah, I was playing with it earlier. Yeah. It looks heavier than it is, I think. Yeah,
it looks a lot heavier than me because it's got the Raptor coat on it. It looks like a beast.
Yeah.
But actually, when you take it apart, I've got 2 panels here that hold the mud flaps in place, and then underneath that, there's a really small little plate that has my winch plate on, and then 2 bolts that hold then the actual main kind of frame on it. So, I mean, it's doable to get it lightweight, but if you put a heavy winch in it, then it doesn't help. Anyway, and we touched on just
TJ with a stroker engine and I think like 3.5, 4-inch lift.
Yeah.
Pro fender shocks.
Absolute beast.
It's good fun.
It is a monster.
Yeah,
it is a monster.
Is that your only Jeep or?
Yeah. We'll see what happens in the future.
Do you think you're always a Jeep guy, or do you think you'll go with something else?
So
Toyota.
The dream is a like 1990s Jeep Comanche.
Okay.
With a truck.
I think I know the one you're on about.
With a
flatbed on the back.
Yeah, with a V8 would be the build.
Yeah.
Yeah, with long travel suspension.
That's an import situation, though, right?
They're hard to find. They're hard to find. I know a guy who has one, but he would never sell it.
Yeah.
I think your number one rule is manual gearbox.
Yeah, absolutely.
Number one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm still in an auto, but like that's what I like about the Toyota. Is I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 accessible still in the auto.
Yeah.
So it doesn't kick you out of it.
It doesn't kick me out of gear. Yeah. So I can still hold a gear. And you can be lazy and you can just keep it in drive if you want to. But it's not great for your oil temperatures, that's for sure. I think we've touched on most things from the RDC.
Is there anything else you guys want to bring up? Anything you want to?
Well, just shout out the Desert Dudes who organise the RDC.
Yeah.
They do a
Really good
fantastic
guys.
job every year, and they're not making money from it. It's just pure love of the sport, love to get out there and get after it.
And we should probably mention the sponsors of the RDC event. So we had Rami Automotive sponsored it,
And they had a team.
and they entered their own team. Yeah, they had
Tyre cover.
TireCover.ae. They actually did. If you guys know, they made flags. They did the
RDC flags.
And my team had a flag made with them as well.
Okay.
And the flag quality and the print on it is honestly, it's amazing. And you can tie off at the bottom, which is what they've done to allow you to like properly tie it off. I mean, I was talking to them the other day for like I think it was like 80 by 40 square was 89, 90 dirhams to get
That's good.
to get a nice team flag made. So yeah, I mean, they sponsored it. The off-road rope, which I've talked about multiple times, it's just here behind Toby.
Yeah.
Tom, who makes these ropes, it's amazing. Like I couldn't have done the RDC without it. We had a winch multiple times. I was like, let me use the rope. Like the rope was better choice for me. If you're winching up a dune, different, but a few times like the rope was the better choice to get people over.
Just to get people out of the situation.
It looks after you, but you have to put your faith in it. I made a few mistakes this weekend where I pulled and I didn't pull hard enough, and then I just had the rope. I couldn't go back. So cut a soft shackle and then start again. Sort of situation.
You had to sniff a soft shackle.
I couldn't bother. I had 4 soft shackles in the car. I was like, no, I'm done.
Oh no!
I couldn't be bothered with it. And they were cheap Dragon March shackles. So
Okay. Stay away from them.
It was a 50 dirham shackle. Like
Sounds safe.
We don't condone that.
no.
Yeah.
But yeah, his rope is amazing. I mean, you bought one for
Yannick,
right?
Yeah,
And then,
he loves it.
Yannick's
Fiance,
Gabby, then bought one, and actually I met Gabby for the first time this weekend. I started chatting to her, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I bought this amazing rope." I was like, "The off-road rope." I was like, "It's amazing." But so Tom, who makes the rope, he's the guy who ran our second team in 2023.
Yeah.
Nice.
And he was the one who led our teams to victory. So he really knows his stuff, and he's selling a good rope. And then there was
There's the Carnage
Meat shop.
Yeah.
I couldn't pronounce it. Carnage something meat shop.
Yeah.
And then there's the other Baba
Babel Najum.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Is that
Babel
like a
Najum Hotel.
or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
hotel.
Yeah.
That also sponsored the event.
I think they'll be part of the prizes.
Yeah.
A couple nights stay or something.
Exactly. The year that I did it, the prizes we got, because the year that it happened for us was at ARB, so we got
Nice.
the barbecue that I'm using. I got a nice barbecue, got a deflator tool. Nice. We had like quite a nice few bits of gear. And we were second.
It's about the bragging rights, though. At the end
Yeah.
of the day.
Yeah. The prizes.
are nice.
The prizes are a nice bonus, if you get on the
You
podium.
had that amazing grill. Was it Yannick's grill?
Yeah.
The ARB grill that over the weekend. That was.
Yeah, it's good. We have our fire and our barbecue in there, so we contain all of the ash, and it's all in there. And
really nice.
you have your meat cooking upwind and your flames on downwind, and then you can have both, best of both worlds.
It was really cool setup. But yeah, those are the sponsors for the event, and go check out the RDC on Instagram. And I think that's
probably some more reels coming out in the next few days. Well, not reels, but some stories, just showing some highlights, and we'll put some stuff in the video as well about some of the stuff we've talked about.
Yeah, for sure.
And then go check out your Jack's Jeeps on Instagram, and then FJ Jeeps.
Yeah, that's not doing too well at the moment. Stick to Harry Shard's too.
Also on Instagram, so go follow these guys and see what they get up to. I'm sure you could end up being on the podcast again. In the future, so
for sure.
I feel like we're going to be
Maybe post results.
Yeah, the debrief.
Be good.
We'll
It'll be
get
good.
Ruben on that one.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll give a shout out to a couple of the other guys and see if Tom and people like that actually want to come and join.
Yeah.
If we can get enough microphones.
So there is a bit of controversy that is yet to be revealed. That'd be good to debrief after.
Yeah,
the
it'd be
results.
excellent.
Yes, there's a few rumours of some cheating.
Doings.
Yeah.
some
Doings,
potential
vlogs.
doings.
Yeah.
All come out and
All come out.
GPS
Well, yeah.
fly.
We can put faith in the desert dudes to make it all fair and equal. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Awesome, yeah. So,
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Up here. Point in the sky this way.
Which hand?
To do, is it this way? Yeah.
Yeah.
Be a box, to do some stuff. So make sure you do that stuff.
All right.
Sweet.
What was the stuff?
Like, subscribe. No, subscribe button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's going to be here as well.
Yeah. It's always lower.
It's always.
You covered my face.
Well, so why don't we
Yeah.
just do a semicircle so we cover all? So everyone point this way, and then we go.
There's going to be some
It's
stuff
gonna-
here.
Yeah.
Make sure you click.
Perfect.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Cool.